Okay, so round 4 of the Six Nations done and dusted. It's time to have a look at some stats. So this is going to be just for this round. At the end of the tournament, we will do another one where we look at the tournament as a whole. And also this week, I'm going to have some picks, some 15 selects based on the stats for the first 4 rounds. So you can get kind of a glimpse into how things are going in an overall sense as well. So starting with possession, Italy topped this one with 55%. England next to 53, Ireland 51, Scotland 49, France 47, and Wales 45. So Ireland the only team that had more possession and won the game at the weekend. Italy a little bit wasteful with their possession, and England just kind of found it very hard to make dents in that French team at all. Onto territory then. Ireland topped this one with 60%, England 56%, Italy 52%, Wales 48%, France 44%, Scotland 40%. So France again showing that, you know, a top team doesn't necessarily need to have more of the ball or more of the territory to win the game and to win the game well. It's more about execution in the red zone when you get there and getting quality possession, you know, to make that happen. So there's no point in just going side to side and going nowhere, you know, in the opposition 22 if you don't have the ability to unlock the defense. That can be from a number of different things, you know, clever kicking, just someone who is on amazing form can do something individual, big runners, smashing holes, using you know, your play the way Ireland would to maybe pull the defence out of position and create holes, or any combination of those. You know, it really is about being able to execute when you get the chance. So making the chance is only like the first step in it, and the more important step is actually finishing it. And you know, Ireland and France so far have been the best at that. Scotland pretty good, probably didn't do as well against Ireland, although their, you know, possession and territory wasn't, you know, vastly different to what they've had in other games. They have been able to, you know, make the most of not so much territory. Like if you look at the, like as I said, they had 49% possession. Their average is 49.3 from the first 3 rounds, and then they had 40% territory. Average is 47.3, so not hugely different for them. Onto then rucks. So Scotland won the most rucks with 100, the only team to break 100 this week. Ireland next with 98. Then we have England 89, Italy 82, France 68, and Wales down with 47. So Wales not really getting through that many rucks overall, but still they were able to come out with a win. In terms of percentage-wise then, Italy were at 98%, Ireland as well, Scotland next with 97%, France 95%, England 93%, and Wales 92%. So Scotland in that first half, they really did target the Irish ruck. You saw that a couple of times they managed to turn them over as well. They managed to slow the ball down, which was crucial in that first half. But I think then in the second half, they just didn't have the gas to be able to keep up the, you know, the relentless pressure that is needed in order to slow down that Irish ball. I think Ireland is so good at their own breakdown most of the time that it was difficult for Scotland to keep that up overall. And also, it's probably is something that Ireland are improving at, because it's something in the past where either Ireland or even Leinster, when they've been kind of knocked off the stride by teams, they've targeted the ruck and their quick ball, and they've been able to slow them down for pretty much the whole game. So it's not surprising that it's something that Ireland at halftime were able to address, and in the second half then things went a lot smoother for them. In terms of mauls then, so Ireland won the most maul with 14. Next then we had Italy and Scotland tied on 7, Wales with 6, and then France and England with 2 each. In terms of percentage, France at the top there with 100, Wales next with 85, Italy and Ireland at 77, England 66, and Scotland down at 63, which is surprising because prior to this game, Ireland and Scotland were at the top of the stats for this one, 96.4 for Ireland, 95.7 for Scotland. But Scotland just couldn't, get the success out of that you normally would expect them to do it. But I think a lot of it is the fact that they're 2 superb mauling teams. They're also 2 good maul defence teams as well. And maybe they kind of negated each other a little bit there. On to then set piece then, scrums. So Italy won the most scrums at 9. Next is Scotland. Then we have England on 5, Wales and France on 4, and Ireland with just 3. And scrum percentage then, England 100%, Scotland 87, Italy 81, Wales 66, Ireland 50, and France 44. So Ireland in their scrum, their problem was not that they were necessarily losing the scrums as a contest or giving away penalties. They actually got free kicked 3 times at the scrum because of their setup, and that's something that they need to work on, for next week against England as well, because England are coming in, being able to win 100% of their own scrums, and England have been, I think, the second best scrum overall so far in the competition. Then Ireland definitely have to work on that. Scotland pretty respectable there with 87%. Especially when you think that like Furlong returned for Ireland, and then Ireland did win at least one penalty when Healy came on at hooker, and they had 3 props scrumming against them. So well done there to Scotland. When we're looking down through the stats, I know I've seen a lot of Scottish fans thinking that they had a bad game. I don't think they did have a bad game. I think certain things they did differently that might kind of indicate why it was more difficult for them to put scores on. But overall, I don't think they actually, the players didn't perform that badly. On to Lineout then. So most Lineouts won were Wales and Ireland joint, which is crazy when you think that like Ireland had Van der Fleer throwing in like for most of the second half. Next then is England with 13, France and Italy with 12, and Scotland then there with 7. Scotland's line-out malfunctioned a lot in the opening few minutes of the game, kind of denied them a bit of momentum there in the first half, where they maybe could have built a bit of a score against Ireland if that had gone their way. And then again, like Scotland before this game, one of the best lineouts in the competition. In terms of percentage then, England were 100%, Wales 87%, France 85%, Italy down from their normal down to 80%. Their like average is 94% from the first 3 rounds. Ireland is 77%, and then Scotland down there 63%. So that's one area where Scotland really did, not perform to levels that we would have expected from them. Next then is clean breaks. So Italy made 11 clean breaks. Blue in the face saying this though, Italy, they're making clean breaks from their own 22 most of the time. And like, the ones that they're making in the opposition half, there's nobody there to back the guy up most of the time. So that they don't have options to pass to create, turn that clean break into a try. So two problems, I think, for Italy is they need to play more in the opposition territory, and the support runners for anyone who makes a break needs to be better. By now, they should know that, they are going to make breaks in the game, and players should be gambling with that. Like, we see something really that I wouldn't say invented, but something that Dupont does a lot, and people are starting to copy, is that he positions himself in such a way that if someone makes a break, he's there to support. He's a little bit ahead almost, and he's there to support, but he's also there to block someone who potentially is going to tackle the person who's making the break. And then when they're going into contact, then he'll drop back into an area where he can receive the offload. And Italy, they should work on something like that, I think, to make the most of those clean breaks. But yeah, Italy have 11, France 9, Ireland 7, Wales 4, Scotland 2, and England just the 1 clean break. I think that was probably Marcus Smith, who got completely isolated and turned over by France after that one. Next, then we have defenders beaten. So Italy beat 38 defenders, mostly in their own half. France next to 27, Scotland 27. So, again, they're putting up good numbers. England next to 20, Wales at 13, Ireland just with 11. So Ireland made 7 clean breaks and beat 11 defenders. But the thing is, the defenders that they beat in those mostly were in those clean breaks, and they led to good positions, either scoring a try or almost scoring a try. In terms of then players, broken tackles, so Freddie Stewart is top there with 7. He was one shining light, at least in attack for England. I thought he could have done better in defence a few times for them. He kind of was jogging after players who were going to score in the corner. Van der Merwe then next with 6, Ramos with 6 as well, Marcus Smith with 5, and then Tommaso Menoncello with 5. He had a great game for Italy, I thought. He really is coming on. His partnership with Brex, 2 really good players there, and I think Menoncello is really, proving himself now at test level as well. On to offloads then. Italy offload the most with 11, France as well. Scotland next with 10, Ireland 9, Wales 5, and England with only 3. England really, there wouldn't have been much point of England offloading, I think, in that game, because they weren't really bending the line or testing the line a lot of the time. So you're just offloading to shift the point of contact. And a lot of the time as well, they kind of had to look after the ball because France were always sniffing around as well. In terms of individuals then, offloads, we had Pierre Bruno with 3, Stuart Hogg with 3 as well. Next then, Hugh Jones, another great game for him in the Scotland shirt. Next, Jack Conan, Aldrit, Dyer, Olivon and Rutza, all with 2 each. There were a few others with 2 as well there. On to then turnovers conceded. So England conceded the most turnovers, 18. Really hurt them against France, because France on turnover ball, that first try, turned them over. Then, going back to the offloads, France offload twice in that move, which leads to Demortier getting free and then able to give the pass away to score. Next is Italy, France, and Scotland all on 15, Ireland with 13, and Wales then there with 11. So, not much turnover ball for Italy to work on in that game either. So, weren't really able to, break in transition as well against Wales. In terms of who was conceded turnovers, James Lowe conceded 3, Ben Curry with 2. Then we have Dempsey, Chesham, and Ryan all with 1 each. And there's a few others with 1 as well. Kicks from hand then. This was a surprising stat. So France with 42, Wales 36, England 32, Ireland 28, Italy 20, and Scotland with just 19. So Ireland and Scotland, their average is around about 30 kicks per game from the first 3 rounds. Scotland completely changed their their tactics. It seems they didn't want to kick to Hugo Keenan and James Lowe, because they were the ones that were making meters for Ireland, returning the ball and getting Ireland into good position. So they decided to change their tactics from the first 3 rounds, and not kick anywhere near as much. So, like, look at Ireland. Ireland, as I said, they kick on average about 30 games or 30 times a game. They kick 28, so pretty much bang on. Scotland, though, 19. So that's like, a third less than they normally would. Shows that there must have been a plan behind that, and it looks like they were trying to avoid giving Ireland easy meters with the likes of Keenan, Lowe, and Hansen there at the back. But I'm not sure if, in an overall sense, actually worked out for them. They did stop those players, you'll see, from making as many meters as they normally would. But I'm not sure in an overall sense whether it was the right tactic for them to do. I think they maybe changed the way the team was functioning a little bit too much, in deference to Ireland. In terms of individual meters kicked, this is another one that really shows. So we've got Rhys Webb there at the top with 432, Entamac with 409, Dupont 383, Stewart 368, Allen 333, Ramos 330, and then comes Finn Russell with 299. So Finn Russell, in the first 3 rounds, has been averaging 450 or something like that, 450 to 500 meters per kick, and normally, or not per kick, that would be amazing, per game, but normally he's at the top of these stats. And by a margin as well. But they weren't kicking as much, they weren't making as much ground, and it's probably part of why in that second half they found it hard to get into positions to really respond to Ireland when Ireland were going ahead, because they were trying to put the ball through the hands a lot more than they normally would. Now let's have a look at the meters run. So Ireland's top there were 580, next is Italy 530, France 506, Scotland 477, England 446, and Wales 354. So Ireland's still making meters, despite Scotland not kicking the ball to them. They just made meters with different players and in different areas. Italy, lots of meters made for them, but again, coming back to the same thing, they're making the meters in the wrong area of the pitch. If their certain position is higher up the pitch, which it would be if they actually had a kicking game, then those meters made, lead to tries. At the moment, a lot of those meters made lead to exciting games and exciting moments in the game, but normally then a mistake or a turnover or something like that, or being caught, short of the line. In terms of players then, again, just going back to his performance, like Freddie Stewart there, 164 tops it. So, going forward, certainly he was, again, a standout for England in a very poor performance. Next, we have James Lowe with 150. Hugh Jones, 118. Again, really good performance from him for Scotland. Marcus Smith with 115, so it wasn't all bad from him. Jack Conan 106, and Duhan van der Merwe with 99. So van der Merwe still managed to get into the top 6, but I think Ireland marshaled, for the most part, fairly well. In terms of number of runs, then Ireland topped that with 123, Scotland next to 122, Italy 119, England 111, France 108, and Wales 69. So, again, coming back to the way Scotland played. So Ireland generally, from the first 3 rounds, they were the team that ran the most. And Scotland were the team that ran the second least. Only France running the ball less than them. But Scotland almost having the same number of runs as Ireland, there. So complete change from them. Italy round about the same that we'd expect from them. Wales down a little bit on kind of their average, but when we look at the effectiveness of their carries, so meters per run, Wales are at the top there with 5.13, and that's a massive jump for them because they were the only team that were making less than 3 meters per carry in the over the first 3 rounds. Ireland next with 4.72, France 4.69, Italy 4.45, England 4.02, and Scotland with 3.91. So most of the teams actually improved their carrying stats this round, including Scotland, and maybe points a little bit to maybe a bit of fatigue in the players. They're getting close to the end of a really tough tournament, and it's getting a little bit easier to make meters as well. In terms of carries by the players then, Freddie Stewart tops the list with 17, Jack Conan and Aldrich, and actually Pierre Schumann with 15 each, and then Brex there with 14. On to then passes. So again, another surprise compared to the way things have been in previous round. Scotland top there and by a margin as well from Italy with 201, Italy 182, Ireland 175, England 145, France 105, and Wales 90. So first 3 rounds, Italy have been the number 1 team in terms of passing. Scotland have actually been second last, again with only France down below them. But this week, there they are sitting at the top because they put the ball through the hands a lot more and try to run it a lot more than they've done in previous games. Italy, kind of around their average anyway, same with Ireland. Wales, again, a little bit down. Wales did not run the ball as much as they've done in the first 3 rounds against Italy. They made their meters in other ways, like they were kicking more than we've seen them before. In terms of then individual passes, so again, like Ben White is there at the top. There have been rounds where he hasn't even got into the top 6 because somebody's replacement scrum half has made more passes than him. But suddenly he's there at the top because, again, Scotland putting the ball through the hands. Varney next with 51, Murray 50, Finn Russell 46. Again, he'd normally be Scotland's top passer, but he wouldn't make the top 6 overall most times. Dupont with 45 and then Mitchell with 40. On to tackling then. So Scotland made the most tackles of 161. Next, Ireland with 154. So a ton of tackles in that game because they kept the ball alive so much. And it's a testament to the 2 teams, the way they went, especially in that first half, went at each other. Next, then we have Wales 127, France 124, England 115, and Italy just was 77. Then in terms of missed tackles, so top of the table, we have Wales with 38, but again, they're missing tackles in the Italian half for the most part. And if Italy could just change that, where they're making teams miss tackles in their own 22, they're going to score tries. I think it's pretty simple that way. How you get there, though, as a coach, I'm not saying I have the answer. Obviously, kicking, an effective kicking game is going to be part of the answer. But I know nothing about coaching rugby, so I wouldn't know how to coach an effective kicking game. But back to the stats. So missed tackles. Wales at the top there, 38. Ireland and England next with 27 each. France with 20. Italy 13. Scotland missed just 11 tackles in that game. Phenomenal performance for them defensively. Again, especially in the first half, where Ireland got in those positions where they normally score, they normally turn the screw and build their score in the first half. Scotland didn't allow them to do that. They didn't actually fall off that much in the second half when you think that they only missed 11 tackles over the entire 80 minutes. So it's just that Ireland stepped up to another level that maybe at this point in time, Scotland can't reach, but doesn't mean that in the future they can't get there. In terms of percentage then, Scotland at the top there were 93.6. That's an amazing percentage for them. When you think that, the top average tackling over the first two rounds has been just over 90%. And they're there at 93.6 against this Irish team. Like, again, another phenomenal performance from them. France next with 86.1, Italy 85.6, Ireland 85.1, England at 81, and Wales then at 77. In terms of the tacklers then, another kind of honour roll almost for the Scotland team. We got Jack Dempsey there with 22, Johnny Gray with 20, Josh van der Fleer with 17, so he doesn't just throw into the line out. Jamie Ritchie 17, Matt Ferguson 14, and Jack Morgan 14. So 4 Scots in the top 6 tacklers from the weekend. In terms of dominant tackles, again, we've got like Johnny Gray, Van der Fleer, Jamie Ritchie, James Ryan, and then Anthony Watson as well. So they weren't just, making tackles, they were making dominant tackles as well in that Scottish team. In terms of missed tackles then, Gary Ringrose was there with 7, Kyle Sinclair 5, Rio Dyer, Mason Grady, and Wyn Jones also with 5. The fact that Ringrose missed 7 tackles, he's normally like the defensive leader for Ireland. It just, again, speaks to the performance of the likes of Russell, and especially that centre partnership of Tuipulotu and Hugh Jones. In terms of penalties conceded then, Wales top there with 14, Italy 13. So, not great discipline from either team in that game. France and England 12 and 11 respectively. Scotland with 10, which is respectable when you look at the rest of the teams above them there. But then Ireland with just 6 conceded. Like, that is a phenomenal performance from them, and especially when you think that they've conceded an average of just over 10 penalties per game from the first 3 rounds. So really good from them, and it's probably something that kept them in the game there when they were under pressure. They weren't conceding that many penalties. In terms of players then, you got 4 players who conceded 3. They are Kyle Sinclair, David Jenkins, Lewis Ludlam, and Sipili Falatea. So maybe there's a reason why, like, Falatea, he's been like sub tight head prop for France now through the whole tournament. Every time like a tight head ahead of him gets banned, Antonio gets banned for the hit on Herring, he's still on the bench to bring in Howes. Howes gets banned for his clear out against Scotland. They bring in Aldahera. So the guy's always going to be, I think, on the bench. But at least he knows his place in the 23 is fairly secure. But yeah, that is the end of this look. We are going to have, as I said, some kind of 15 selects based on certain stats coming through the week. We're also going to have, the news will be up probably around about Wednesday. We'll have then our previews for next week's games coming as the teams come out on Thursday and Friday as well.